Welcome to The Wandering Trolley, Episode 3. I'm Alexander Hamilton. The trolley's upstairs. Actually, no, I think it's on this floor. Yes, you see, I'm staying in a hostel and in Budapest. And the kitchen where I have, the guest kitchen where I have sequestered myself, feels very much like a sort of underground bunker. It's very calm here and warm. And so, I thought I was downstairs in relation to the trolley. But in fact, we're both on the ground floor. The trolley is on the other side of an internal courtyard, which seems to be a feature of these, I assume, formerly residential blocks. So there's a courtyard. On the other side of a courtyard is the lobby, I suppose, the hostel lobby. And by the lobby is a seating area with tables. And alongside one of these tables is the trolley. Now, if you don't know what I'm talking about, this is my shopping trolley that I travel around with. Consult the first video. It serves as a sort of manifesto that introduces in great detail the trolley. So I'm in this kitchen, and what was I going to say? Oh yeah, I'm in Budapest, and I'm sorry to disappoint you all, but I will not be giving you a guided tour of the city. You will not be finding out about Budapest on my time, or on my dime. Okay? So I'm afraid this is it. This is the scenery. This is all you're going to be getting. Right, I've made a list of various bits and pieces. These sunflower seeds, bought 3 days ago in Berlin, have constituted a very significant source of protein for me in the last 2 days. Now, the thing about staying in a hostel, in a dorm, because it is possible to get private rooms in hostels, but I'm staying in the dorm, and it's a bit of a, you take your chances somewhat vis-a-vis your fellow travelers. I don't mean ideological sympathizers, I mean just those who are also traveling. Although I think some of them are not traveling. I think some of them are maybe between places. Anyway, above me in the upper bunk, I'm in the lower bunk. Above me in an upper bunk is a chap who scarcely leaves his bed. And yesterday morning, I thought I heard the sound of toenails being clipped. There was a certain forcefulness to it, the kind that perhaps a stubborn toenail would. The kind perhaps that a stubborn toenail would. How does one link the idea of the forcefulness with the stubbornness of the toenail? The thing is, though, I dismissed the toenail hypothesis after this had been going on for about 10 or 15 minutes, I decided it could not be toenails because the man in the bunk above me, I assume, does not have 400 toes. The likelier scenario is that he was shelling and then eating pistachios, or possibly sunflower seeds. Anyway, so that's the thing, you see. So there was a certain rhythmic quality to it, a staccato-esque regularity. I left Berlin 2 days ago, and I have been in this hostel for 2 days. Not quite, 2 nights. I've been here 2 nights. I was going to go on to Serbia, to Subotica in Vojvodina, but unfortunately I missed the train, so I shan't be doing that. I have one of these Interrail tickets, so it's not really a big problem. And I think I'm now going to go to Zagreb. So, maybe it was a fortuitous event, the missing of the train. I didn't get to the train to find it having left. I had to, unfortunately, the train to the border town in Hungary, where I would have had to have changed trains. It's called Szeged. The trains serving Szeged are... I thought there was somebody maybe coming into my bunker. But the trains serving Szeged do not leave from one of the central stations, Keleti or Nyugati, but from a place called Kobanya Kispest. And Kobanya Kispest is reached by the underground. The nearest underground station, it turned out, was 19 minutes away. I got to the underground station and decided not to proceed when the lady at the guichet explained to me that I would need about 15 to 20 minutes to get there, and I only had 15 minutes before my train left, so I'm back. And so I'm going to Zagreb instead. What else can I say? Well, of course, none of this is happening in a vacuum. I may be in a bunker, I may be secreted in a bunker in the kitchen, but none of this is happening in a vacuum. And, I should have something to say about what's going on in the world at the moment. Now, the AfD are doing very well, it seems, in the polls. I'm just consulting various notes I have here, but I'm not really sure whether there's anything that's worthy of comment, in truth. I mean, they're all a bunch of bastards, of course. And Trump is proving himself to be, well, not quite the enthusiastic defendant of freedom of speech as he claimed to be in that little speech of his at the beginning of his term. Apparently, anyone who disapproves or makes any sort of noises against some anti-diversity initiative being, or anti-diversity inclusion and what have you. Diversity, inclusion, and there's an E. I don't know. Diversity and inclusion, which apparently has been part of the mainstream ideology in the US government. This has been the motivating what have you. Yeah. Trump has, decided that that's a bad thing. And I think there are probably many people who think that that's gone too far. But, the thing is that he's a slightly naughty boy because rather than just saying we're going to change the policy, he's saying we feel so strongly about it that we're going to enforce it, the new dogma, in a way that is decidedly authoritarian, possibly even Orwellian. So if you overhear a colleague at the State Department or wherever else simply complaining about the change in approach, you can send an email to some address, it's truth@something.gov, where you can inform on this colleague. You can inform on this colleague. Not only will there be no negative repercussions if you do so, in informant, not only will there be no negative repercussions if you do so, but they raise the prospect of negative repercussions if, having overheard such a thing, you take no action. Now, some people may say, well, the means are a bit savage, but the object, the purpose, is necessary, laudable or necessary or what have you. But the thing about political theory is that the means are everything. Political theory isn't really interested in, who gets to use which lavatory. Political theory is interested in the nature of state power, the legitimacy of state power. So you're already there. It's already Stasi. It's already Stasi land. But not enough people have been well enough schooled in any of this. That's the problem. But this is very concerning. Another example are the measures that apparently to be taken against pro-Palestinian campaigners at US universities who are also not US citizens. Trump wants to identify these people and make them subject to deportation, to losing their visas. Now, the First Amendment of the US Constitution presumably grants near absolute rights to free expression, not only to US citizens, but to anyone within the jurisdiction of the United States. The First Amendment is not a privilege enjoyed by American citizens, but a right enjoyed by all human beings in America. That's what the First Amendment is. A sovereign nation may well have the right to rescind the residency entitlements of non-citizens. I'm not going to argue against that. But how would people who approve of this idea of identifying these alien ringleader pro-Palestinians or pro-Palestinian cause campaigners, how would people who approve of that, how would they feel about, let's say, the Biden administration identifying non-US citizen global warming, or climate change as it's called now, skeptics. Let's say you lose your right to residency as a national of another country because you make public your rejection of the orthodox position. Well, that's outrageous. Of course that's outrageous. But it is also outrageous. It is also outrageous to resort to such measures against those who say that Israel is committing human rights abuses on a massive scale in its campaign in Gaza and in the West Bank. Now, you may think that that is not the correct position. You may be somebody who thinks that Israel is committing no human rights abuses at all. You may think that they are committing human rights abuses, but doing so out of necessity. But then again, you may think that they're committing human rights abuses and that those represent an obscenity, a moral obscenity. So there's a whole constellation of views, and all of them can find place in a liberal and tolerant discourse. So I think that's all I'm going to say for now. Today I'm moving on to the Balkans, most likely to Zagreb, and I hope to update you with more positions, possibly, and more observations, more reflections, and more stories.